As I mentioned earlier, the Filmic Club database, suppose, you are supposed having this earlier from the stored procedure topic, right? And therefore, for today, I will go to use the same database. And actually, for all tutorial sessions, I will use the Filmic Club database. I will use the Filmic Club database, okay? So let's go here to check for the queries that, or the triggers that you have to create. The first query or the first trigger will be, you need to create an insert, or let me just check here. Okay. So the first one will be to create an after insert trigger on films table to check year release. If the year is greater than 2000, show the message new movie, else show message old movie. Okay. So this is the first trigger that you have to create. The second trigger will be create, instead of trigger on member details table, to prevent the deletion of any member. Okay. Number 3, create using create table SQL command. Create a new table called audit films, which contains the following attributes. It will include the film ID, film name, year released, plot summary, available DB, rating, and category ID. All of these basically columns, they are coming from what? From the films table, which is this one, okay? The films table that you have here. Now, the additional thing will be, what is the delete insert date, okay? The status, that means either it's deleted or inserted. And finally, who is the user who done that, okay? Who is the user who done the process, the deletion or the insertion process. Now, after you create the table here, you need to create what? A trigger, which is, the one that we have explained earlier. So you need to create a trigger to track the insertion and deletion of records from films tables. This record must be saved in the audit films table. Please ensure to include the date, status, inserted or deleted, and the user who done the operation, operation. Okay, these are basically the tutorial question for today. So as usual, I'll give you around, let's say, 1 hour, and then I will go to check the answers. Sir, please upload the trigger scripts from the lecture. Let me check if I upload it or not. Let me just go here. So as usual, you can refer to the tutorials under your class, okay, under files folder. Now let me just check, okay, here for Teams. And let me just go here for okay, your module. So I'll go here for files. Okay, Dream Home. Okay, the trigger is not there. Okay, no worries. Let me just upload it. Okay, so I'll go here for, where is it? Okay. Some databases, then okay, triggers. Let me just confirm that this is the file. Yes, this is the one. Okay, so you can refer also to the codes which exist here, Okay, clear? Any question? Any question till now? Okay, so for now, I will mute the mic if there is no questions. And also I will stop sharing the screen. Then I will meet you after 1 hour to discuss the answers, And also if you have any question about the previous tutorial, which is the store procedure, also we can discuss about that. Okay?
Sir.
So, yes?
Yes. I saw you add in the tutorial question.
Come again?
Did you add more information in the database, like more attribute? Because last tutorial I saw only a few attributes in the database.
You mean for the film club?
Film club.
Yes, yes, yes. Most likely, yes.
Oh, so we also need to add
Update, yes. For that.
Oh yeah, update. Okay.
Okay. Because sometimes because usually when I begin with film club in major cases, I will go to add the basic attributes. Okay. Because also I use this in other classes, the same database. So later I'll go to add more attributes. So yes, sometimes you will find there is some slight differences, and maybe I will add some columns, extra and so on. So just add them. Okay. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Any other question before we proceed? Okay. So see you at 3:10. Okay, attention please. Let's go for the tutorial questions, okay? Let's go for the first question. Create an after insert trigger on first sample to check your release. If the year is greater than 2000, show the message new movie, else old movie. So, who can give me here the trigger, okay, to resolve this one? So, anyone done the first question? Anyone done the first question? Hello there, are you there? Okay, so Richard create trigger secrets on films after. Let's begin. If exist, select all. Where? Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so let me copy the code here. And let's go here because I have Film Club database. Okay, already I created earlier. Let me just check for the columns names if there is any changes. Okay. So create film clubs, okay, and films after insert as begin. Okay, select all from inserted. As I mentioned earlier, just I want to highlight. Select all from inserted. Here, this one is not recorded from you. That means this code basically, just I'll comment it, okay? Or no problem, just I'll leave it. Just I'll add a comment that this one is for testing, let's say, for testing only. Okay, so because usually we don't show the data when inserts and so on. Okay, so usually we don't just use it, except if you are doing testing or you want to know, okay, the code which is executed is in which side or is accessing which, let's say, codes. If you have, let's say, maybe like error later, for example, if you want to apply like if it's statement and so on. So it will be okay. Now, if exists, select year release from inserted where year release is greater than 2000, right? Okay, so print new movie, else print old old movie. It will work because basically it will be correct because the exist here basically will check if the data is there in the inserted. So if the condition is correct, because it's Boolean basically, so it will return 1. That means it's correct. So what will happen? It will go to print the first message. Else, if this is not the case, it will go to print an old message, right? So this is the old movie. So highlight execute. Now, since this is after insert, so let me just check what are the parameters for the columns. And let me insert just to test the code here. So I'll say insert into, then after that films values. Then what are the values here? Let me just select all from films just to see the data. Okay, so assume the values will be, for example, let's say 17. Then I will go for, maybe I will say the name is hello. And after that we have the year released. Assume that I want to make it as 2020. Okay. Then the plot is hello, hello. Then is it available on DVD? Yes. This thing, okay, rating. Let's assume I will say it is 3. Then I'll go for category ID. We have 4, 3, 2. Let's make it 2. Let's see how this works. Let's see how this works. Now let me just confirm here. If I go for films, I will have here some triggers. This trigger I already created earlier. I disable it. Okay, insert delete audit film earlier. Okay, from the previous class basically. Okay, here check year released. So this is the one. So let's see how this works. I'll go here, highlight, execute. Okay, so it gives me the, because it says here select all from inserted, so it is there. Then the message says one row affected, and we have what, a new movie, and we have a new movie, as you can see here. So if I just repeat this one once again by updating the primary key to make it 18, and I say here, okay, let's assume this is, let's say 1998, for example. Then highlight, execute. It's supposed to give me what, old movie. So execute. So messages old movie. So the trigger is correct. The trigger is correct. Clear? Any question? Any question for this? A question, the first one. Okay, so far so good. Now, okay, let me go here to check. And let's go here. Sorry. Okay. Damian, can you hear me? Damian, can you hear me? Please give me the code for the second question. Damian, can you hear me? Hello. Are you there? Somewhere. In case I have an issue with the mic, you can write a message. I am waiting. Okay. It seems it's not there. Dennis? Dennis, can you hear me? Are you there? Hello. Humaira, can you hear me? Okay, now I'll go to mention the names one by one. If you are there, please write a comment in the chat box. You'll have 20 seconds to do that only. Abdullah, sorry, Abdul Sami, are you there? Please write the answer. Everyone who is in the class, please write hi here in the chat box. So in my class, I have 31, only 20 say hi. The others, where are they? Okay, okay, okay. Good, good, good. Okay, so let's go. The last one. Okay. Humaira, please send me the code for question number 2. Did you done it? Sir, can we discuss number 4? For sure. Have you done it, sir? Okay. Okay, anyone done question number 2? Okay, so let's go here to check the code. Copy. And let's go for SQL here, sorry. Create trigger, okay. Delete member on members. Okay, on my table it says it is member details. That's okay. Member. Member. Let's see. 1 minute. Create on member details. Okay. Instead of delete as begin, the same thing. Select all from deleted not required. This one. Okay. Just I want to say raise an error, then you will go for rollback. Now, just I want to highlight here, a rollback is not required. Rollback is not required because instead of trigger, don't do the action. That means I am saying basically instead of delete, don't do what? Show me this error message. Clear? So rollback, not supposed to be there. Okay, it's wrong to be there in person because I will assume that it is doing something, but really it's not doing anything. Okay, so highlight, execute. On delete trigger. Okay, it seems from the old class. Notice here it says this is an example for the error I mentioned earlier that when I said if I have instead of delete trigger, then I want to create another one, I will get an error, right? But it seems because here I have earlier created a trigger from previous class, which is okay, which is basically instead of delete. So notice here, this is why we get the error. So what I will do here, I will go to just to delete this one, the previous one, and let me just execute the new line here. So I'll say highlight, then I'll go for execute, command completed successfully. So now what I want to do is the following. I will say delete from just to test the trigger, delete it from member details, but for that check what are the information there. So I will select okay, member details. Okay, select all from member details, then delete from member details, where member ID is equal to 1. So highlight, execute. So notice here it says row can't be deleted, so it show me the error message, which is correct. And says transaction ended in the trigger. Notice here this is wrong to be there because we are not supposed to have what rollback. So I will say here create or alter. Okay. Sorry. So highlight this one, then I will comment the rollback, then I'll say execute. By the way, if you create a trigger, you can use create or alter because sometimes state number. Okay, now I will explain it. Create or alter trigger, okay, on member details instead of delete. Okay, so you can use that. So you can say create or alter. Now, okay, can you explain the state again? Let me give you an example, direct example. Let's assume I want to create another or the same trigger, but on another table. Assume I want to create this one on films, okay? Of delete on films. And the same thing, I want to make a generic report. So I will say row can't be deleted. So I will say here state is equal to 2 instead of 1, okay? So if I run this query, I'm not sure if I have on trigger because I think on films we have 1. Let's go for category. Okay. Category table, for example. Highlight, execute. Can't okay because the trigger does not belong to this object line. The object trigger on the name. Okay. 1 minute. I will go for delete let's say delete what category. Okay. Let me check if there is any trigger on category table. No triggers, so highlight, execute. Command completed successfully. Now what happens here? I said the first one is supposed to be the state will be 1. That means I will know it is what when I try to delete the member details. The state is 2. That means I try to delete what recorded from category. Now usually because now I'm just doing like single query, it will not be an issue. You will know, okay, what really you are doing, okay, which action or which statement you are applying, right? But if you have a batch file, okay, and you have many queries, or maybe you have a transaction and you have many, let's say, statements. So in this case, sometimes it's very hard for you to determine where you get this error. So in this case, what we do, we put the state number here. So I'll know this one is for member details. Now 2 in the documentation or in the comments internal inside the code, I'll know that 2 belongs to what? To category table. So now if I want to, okay, delete the record from, let's say, just say here, I want to this from category, for example, okay, 5. So for example, okay, I want to delete maybe let's say number 3. And now everything you can use, and this is why maybe you will be confused. It will be confusing, right? So dealing with the set number, you need to be aware for that. Because the database engine will not go to check for the set number. Okay. In reality, even you can customize the error message, but I didn't play with that parameter till now. You can say, okay, I want to have, usually, for example, we know that if I have this message error, I know what is the error, right? I can also apply it in raise error. I can write my own messages or my own numbers for the message error, but only I just go for the basic parameters here because I'm focusing on the trigger concept rather than on raise error function. Okay. So delete all from what is delete from category table, right? I want to do that. Category table, for example, where category ID is equal to a 3, for example. So highlight, execute. So notice here, this is the value, then it says the state is 2. And not affected. Why? Because excuse me, because the error message is generic. The error message is what? Generic message. Clear? Any question? So 2 things to highlight. Rollback is not coming with instead of delete because basically I don't do the delete action. So no, rollback here is not required. Now, can you say, okay, maybe I want to do some other actions, then later I will have rollback? Maybe. Maybe if I want to create some sort of transaction inside my trigger. Or maybe I want to call a stored procedure from inside my trigger because you can do that, right? So in this case, you can later maybe add some rollback, but not exactly for the basic action for the the code for instead of delete. Okay, what else? Second thing, you can't apply 2 instead of trigger for the same action on the same table, as we have seen earlier. Okay, clear? Any question? Now, question number 3. I think it is easy, right? Just need to go to create a table using DDL commands. So anyone can just give me the code for query number 3 or question number 3. This is like direct forward from DDL commands basically. So it is not related to event triggers in first place. Anyone can give me the code for question number 3. Okay, create table, audit films, film ID not null, film name varchar, year release, plot summary, Available on the VBit. That depends, because in my table I say it is yes and no. Here you can say like 0, 1, okay. Rating decimal number, usually for rating in general, that depends also. If I want to say, okay, like I want to allow maybe like rating 3.3, 3.4, that depends, okay. Category ID is integer, okay. Date time. Status 1 character, so we want to say like insert or delete. No, delete insert user is not integer here, because I want to get the name. Okay, I want to get the name of the person who is doing what? Who is doing the action. It means I want to know the current user who is basically doing the action, who done the delete, who tried to delete the record, or maybe insert the record. So the delete insert user, no, this data type can't be integer. It must be usually varchar. Like in my table here, if I go for the audit table, let me just show you the columns. Notice here, okay, film ID is integer, film name integer, year release also integer, available on DVD, because I use yes and no, that means Y or N. So I see this is char. Rating is integer. I assume it is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have any, fractions. Serial ID is integer. Date time, for sure, date time or date, that means. Status, because I use the full word in my case, or if you want to use one letter, can be one character. But delete insert user must be varchar, that means must be string or text in our case. But in general, the syntax is correct. Syntax is correct. So after we create the audit table, we want to create what? That trigger that will go to save the data in that audit table. So for question number 4, okay, who can give me the answer for question number 4? Using if statement. Who can give me the code for question number 4? Using if statement. Without if statement. Anyone done the query for question number 4? Anyone done question number 4? I already give you the script right earlier. Just you need to modify it and relate it to Film Club database. Okay, let me enable the one that I have. in case no one is done it. And let me just go to check the code. Okay. So here I'm saying the, okay, let me just, okay. Let me give from here. Now, what I have done here, the query, and no need for this one. Okay, I just committed. Now, what I have done here, I said the following. Okay, I want to apply this for insert, delete, and update status. So also I included update. In the question only it says insert and delete. Okay. Now, first of all, what I have done, I decided to create some parameters. For 3 parameters basically. The first one is date, because I have date, right? In the question I said after that, after the category ID, I want to save the date, the status, right? It is deleted or inserted, and the user. Okay. So I said, okay, here to declare a variable, usually in SQL, I will say declare as a keyword. Then I will add the variable name, then data type. Now, in case I want to initiate it, I can say equal, then the value that I want to give it. Like in our case here, I said, okay, declare status or declare that date as the variable, date time is data type, then equal what? Get date. Get date is the function, built-in function. So it will go to retrieve the current date, Then I add comma, okay, and I'll go for, because you can do that, that means like I'm saying like this. So I can do this in SQL, okay? Or you can say the second statement is also declare, you know, then the statement, if you add here a semicolon. But for now, just I follow up, okay? So I said here status is equal varchar 20. And because I need to put the full word, then I said, okay, the user is varchar 200 and give me the system user. Now, when you check later for the getting the user, there are more than one function, I will say. We have a user, we have current user, we have system user, something SUR user, something like that. You can check for them later. Each one will retrieve some value. Some of them will go to give you the administrator name. Some of them will give you, let's say, the current user and so on. For now, yes, I will use the system user. Most likely, it will give my, if I'm using that on my PC, on my laptop, it will give me this name, which is this one, Abid, Mail, Abdullah, and so on. Okay. Now, I want to check. Now, the first thing, let's go for update. If I use update statement, that means the 2 tables will be full with data, right? The 2 tables will be full with data. Now, how to confirm that? I can use if statement with the count function. So I said here the following. I said if select count all from inserted is greater than 1, that means there is data in the inserted table, and select count from deleted is greater than 1. So I know here if this condition is applied, right? I will know that this thing is supposed to be done correctly, right? That means the thing will be working without any a problem, supposed to be. So in this case, I will go here to execute this code. What I will do here, I will say set the status is equal update insertion success, because I'm doing what? Update statement. Then I will say insert into films, audit films, the values, select all, that means show me all or select all the information from what? From inserted. Then add the following parameters. What are the parameters? They are the following: the date, status, and user. So I will go to what? Insert date, status, and what? User from inserted. Then the second thing, I will go to set the status equal to update deletion. Then I will go to insert the data into the audit film from what? From deleted. So here in the audit table, I'll have 2 records. The first one, it will be the new record. The second one will be what? The old record. Then I said, okay, else if I can use the same function here, select count from inserted greater than 1. Okay. And I can just simply now repeat the same code. Or I can say, because we used this earlier, I can say else if exists, select all from inserted. So set the status equal to insert, let's say success, insert into audit films, the data. Then we end this block. Then I will say here else if, I'm supposed to move it here, okay. So I'll say else exists from deleted, begin set the status equal to deletion success, insert into the table, and so on. Okay. Now the logic here is supposed to be having no issues because I'm just simply following up one by one. So let me just try to first insert a record, then delete a record, then update a record and see what will happen and see. Or maybe I'll go to update first, then I'll go to, because I'll just follow up with the code here. Okay, I done this earlier. I'm not sure if there is any issues, but let me just, try to execute it. So the trigger is created on films database, right? So let me just go for new query. And then here, let me check what are the columns for the films. Okay. Or let me just, okay, select all from, let's say, films. 5. Okay. Now let's assume I want to go for the insert statement. So I'll say insert or update. Let me just update one of the records. So I will say update, which film name, assume hello, for example. Set, then I will say, let's go for rating. So I will say, let's say set rating is equal, this one is 3, so let's make it 5. Okay, where film ID is equal 17. Film ID film ID is equal update films, update hello. Update. Set rating is equal to where film ID is equal to 17. Okay, now let's see what will happen if my code was correct, or later we'll modify it. So it says one row affected and so on. So let me just now select all from films and also select all. Okay, first of all, delete from. Okay, where is it? Films. Okay, let me just delete the old data. So execute. Okay. Now let me go to update this one. It was 3, so I'll make it 5. So I'll make it 3. So let me just show you here. Now this is supposed to be 5, right? So I'll make it a 3 instead. And then select all from okay, audit films. Yes, I want to see the result after that. For now, this audit table is empty, right? And these are the films that I have. So let me highlight and execute it to see what will happen. So okay, these rows have been affected. So let me just execute. So notice here it says the following. It says okay, for the value which was the insertion was 3, right? And the deleted value was 5. So it says okay, this update insertion successfully, and this update deletion was done successfully. I need just to increase the definition for the status because I think it is 20. So I need to modify it to make it more so I can put the whole string. Okay, this is why I don't have just done a truncate for the string that I have. Okay, so that means if I want to go here, modify, then I will go status will be 50. Then I will go to just execute. Okay, now I update this one. So next query, if I do update once again, let me just show you. If I do update once again, and then select the data, it will be supposed to be correct. Not serious. I add the full details, but the same data because I didn't change the rating value. Okay, clear? Any question till now? Any question till now? Okay. I will go to insert record. So I'll say insert into films. Please show the script. Later I will send you the script. No worries. Okay, where is the script? Okay, this is the one. A copy and here. Okay. Also, you can later try with if exists, but count it will be easier for you to follow up with the code in general. Because also you can assign it to parameter for the count. If exists, it will return 0 or 1, right? But if you use count, no, I can assign it to a value if I want. You can, both cases, but count it will be easier when you are dealing with, this type of state case scenarios. Okay, what else? Now, when I go here for, okay, insert into films, okay, values. So let me just insert the values so fast. So I'll say, what are the values that we have here? We have, okay, so I'll say 19, comma, the name will be A, just I will add anything. Okay, year will be, let's say 2000. Then I will have a summary plot will be AAA, for example. Now I'm doing like the students, just adding any data. Then I will go here for, let's say 3. Then I will go for category to make it, let's say 2. So highlight, and let's see what will happen now when we run our query. Execute. This is the message earlier. Okay, one movie, it says all movie because now I have 2 triggers are working, right? So highlight, execute. So notice here we have this is like insertion successfully have been done. So that means this applied what this one, the second distance. Okay, the last one will be if I said delete from, say I'll go then after that films. Okay, where the condition will be where what is it called, film ID. Film ID is equal to 19. Okay, so now if I try to delete, execute. Okay, now let's go to see the information. So now this 19 was deleted, and here it says it was deleted successfully. Okay, clear? Any question before I take the attendance? So this is supposed to be replacement for DBS lecture 2. Okay, DBS. Lecture 2. Date start at 2 p.m. Duration 2 hours. Class is lecture. Then I will go for okay. So that's basically all for today. Okay. Any question before I finish the class? if we identify after update, will it record? What do I mean by if I identify after update? That means if I remove the update, if I remove the update action, I need to modify the code. Because I will be adding extra code, like what we call it in software engineering as gold plating. I'm adding something which is not required.
Sir, it is writing for me class not founded.
I come again?
It's written for me class not founded. I cannot take the attendance.
Okay, okay. Let me just go for the manual. Okay. Your name?
Yasmin Hajjal.
Yasmin. Okay.
Sir, I also cannot scan. 28.
28. Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, I cannot take two, sir.
Number?
Above number 6.
Number 6. Okay. Please check with admin or technical support about these issues. Okay. Anyone else for the attendance? Before I answer the question here. Okay, excuse me. If we didn't specify after update, will it record? No. Now, the argument here is the following. If you didn't say the update keyword, if you later do update statement, it will not consider be as insert and delete. If I understand your question here. That means let's assume here, let me show you what I mean by that. Let me just give you an example. If I go here and modify my trigger, by the way, if anyone want to leave, we are just finished that lecture, but I want to see what we want to do here. Let me highlight the point. So let's assume here I said, okay, this update is not there, right? I think this is your question. Is this correct? If I remove update.
Yes, sir.
Right? Now the question will be, is that it will be, if I do update statement, it will be called? No, because the trigger will be called depending on the action. Clear? Insert is simply insert, delete is simply delete. Clear? So if I don't have update here, if I modify the code and said execute, okay, then later I do update, simply the code, the syntax or the statement that I will have, the update will not call the trigger. The trigger will not be called. So if I go here, notice what will happen. How many records we have in the audit table? We have 6 records, right? How many records we have in the films table? 15. If now I do update, I will update the record here, but nothing will be inserted in this table. Let me show you. Highlight, execute. Notice one row affected. If I select the information, here we have how many rows? 6 rows, right? Nothing inserted. Why? Because the update keyword is not attached to the table as the trigger, as after update trigger. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear. But the update operation itself includes 2 things, which is delete the old value, insert a new value. But here in my trigger, to make it more clear, in my trigger once again, let's go to modify. I don't have the action which is update. That means after update. So simply, if I done any statement for update, it will not call the trigger. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, most welcome. Most welcome.
Hello, sir.
Hello, yes.
Sir. Yeah. Can I get my attendance, sir?
Your name?
Harris.
Your name is Harris. Okay.
11.
Okay. So, any question?
And Marcus.
Your name?
Marcus.
Marcus. Okay.
Marcus Willie Visaji. Number 22.
I already done it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so that's all for today. See you next week. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum.